What up, Internet? It's Neil Savage in the house with another ghost story for you. Ghost story for your mind, if you can handle this. Now, what I'm going to tell you is 100% true. It happened to me. You may not believe it, but I'm still going to share it. So, in our Western Judeo Christian culture, we often ignore the wisdom and the traditions of Native people. Now, the indigenous people, Native Americans, Indians, whatever you want to call them, they were here on this land thousands of years before Europeans showed up. And they lived in communion with nature in almost perfect balance, right? They only killed what they needed to kill animals. They used the whole animal, nothing went to waste. And they gave thanks for the spirit of the animal. They believed that animals have spirits. And they also believed in spirit guides and spirit animals. A lot of native cultures, a lot of native religions believe in the spirit animal as a guide to help you through a journey. So I never really put much thought to this. My uncle is a Tohono Oro medicine man, and he's taught me quite a bit that, those practices and those beliefs. Even now in my house, I have eagle feathers that are blessed, that were given to me from a tribal member, so it's legal. Uh, if you don't know, it's illegal to have eagle parts, feathers, claws, skeletons from the American bald eagle because it's a protected animal. But for native ceremonies, it's legal. So I have eagle feathers in my house, blessing my house. I have, crosses, and pictures of Jesus, and I just believe in blessings as much as I can. So this was when I was still working for a big aerospace company in the valley. We had a site in Olathe, Kansas, and I was sent there to resolve an issue with a particular product, integrated multi-mode receiver, which was a new radio for all the new Airbuses and all the new Boeings. The problem is they couldn't make it fast enough. So although I'm not a black belt, I have extensive training in analysis and manufacturing and engineering. And I told my boss that I would take a look for him and give him an assessment. So this is my very first trip traveling as not being married. When I would travel when I was married, I just go to a hotel, eat dinner, go to bed, and work. There was really not much fun. It was all work. So I actually had a sleep apnea device which required distilled water to run. So I'm running down to the store. I got in, ran down to the store, got the water. And on the way down to the CVS, I see this hawk, a huge hawk in the road flopping around. Obviously, it was hit by a car or something, and it's injured. Now, had it been a pigeon or a rabbit or something like that, I probably wouldn't have stopped. But this was a hawk. I knew it was special. I knew that hawks, are higher up on the food chain, and they're important for rodent control, but much more spiritually, a hawk is a spirit animal. If you think about a hawk, it flies over the ground hundreds of feet in the air, and its vision is so strong that it can see a mouse that's camouflaged 500, 1,000 feet away, and the hawk sees everything, right? The hawk has extreme vision, right? It sees everything below it, and it can swoop down and catch its prey whenever it's available. So here I am. I'm actually kind of dressed like a cholo, to be honest. I got some Levi's on and a white T-shirt, some Jordans on, hair slicked back. Really not looking like I'm from Kansas at all. So I pull over the truck. I see the hawk. Pull over the truck. I jump out. There's a guy, older white guy, freaking out. Oh, what do I do? What do I do? I don't know. I want to help the bird. I don't know what to do. I told him, look, you call the cops. They'll have the number for animal control. I'm gonna go in the street and try and save this hawk. Now, mind you, it was a divided road. All traffic was coming one direction at me. And I walk out into the street. I walk out into the traffic. And people are honking their horns and saying, get out of the way, you're in my way, blah, blah, blah. And they're mad about it. They're mad that I'm in their way. They have no concern for the hawk, right? They probably see them all the time. But to me, it's special, right? I mean, even though I see hawks in the desert, you rarely ever see a hawk on the ground. They're just always in the air. So I go up to this hawk, and I look at this hawk. It's on its back. One wing is damaged. I'm looking at its beak, sharp, razor sharp beak, just so sharp it tears apart flesh every day for a living. I look at its claws, and I have big hands. Its claw was as big as this finger. Big razor sharp claws, huge claws that grabs who knows what, rabbits and raccoons and whatever it can grab, right? And I look at the hawk in its eyes, and it looks dead at my. It looks dead. We eye locked for like, it seemed like a long time. It's probably only a few seconds, but we eye locked. And I looked into its eyes, and it looked into my eyes, and I could feel it looking past my eyes, like it was looking into my soul. Like it was like telling me something with its eyes, And I didn't know what it was saying, but I just told the hawk, look, I'm gonna try to save you. Don't hurt me. Right? So I was foolish, stupid. I try to flip it over by its wing, and it tags me on my wrist. And I have a scar still. A scar from here to here. Now, if you think about it, that's a big ass claw. And this was only like a little flesh wound. It had moved, if it had moved over a little bit longer, it would have tore open my arteries. And it didn't really claw that deep. It was just kind of like, don't touch that. Like, that's not the way, And I was bleeding for that hawk for a little bit. And then I figured out a way to get my foot under its good wing and kind of flip it over my foot. I had jeans on, so it wouldn't scrape my leg. I had, big shoes on, so it wouldn't hurt my foot. I flip it over. And it hops off, runs into the bushes. And I walk back to the man who was calling the cops. He said, where'd the hawk go? It flew away. I said, no, it can't fly. Its wing is broken. I can see the hawk. It's right there in the bushes. Now, admittedly, it's pretty well camouflaged, but I can still see the hawk through the camouflage. I saw it was hiding between two bushes. Oh man, look, hawk's right over there between those two bushes. When the cops get here, let them know. I gotta go get me something to eat for dinner. I'll be back. So I go to a Mexican restaurant, which the Mexican food in Kansas is not that great. Not the best. And I get some bandages for my wrists, because it's still bleeding. And I eat my dinner. I come back. And when I come back, there was two big, really Midwest-sized cops, like two big white boy cops. And they were standing on either side of the hawk. The hawk was just sitting there, just like, yeah, I'm posted up between the two cops. And I kind of pull over and I walk up on the cops, and I'm sure it was intimidating for the cops to have this guy walk up on them, not knowing when I'm dressed like a cholo, obviously not from around these parts. And I say, hey, officer, I'm the one that's helped the hawk out of the street. Are you guys gonna call animal control? And immediately they start with 20 questions. Who are you? Where are you from? Where are you staying? Let me see your ID. I'm like, well, officer, what's this all about? They said, well, did you get hurt by the hawk? I said, yeah, I got a cut right here. He said, well, we're gonna file a police report. I'm like, you gonna file a police report on a hawk? Like, what am I gonna do? Bring charges on the hawk? I mean, that it didn't make no sense. But the police report was filed. So then these two cops are saying, yeah, we got a lot of hawks here. It's not a big deal, but we called animal control and they're coming. So while I'm talking to the cops, animal control pulls up. And at that point, I leave. I say, look, there's nothing more I can do for this animal. It's in animal control's hands now. So then I go to sleep. I wake up the next day. I walk into a factory. Now, mind you, I've been in this factory before. It's an RF factory. They make lots of radios there. But it felt different this time. It felt like I could feel the radiation coming off the machines. I could feel like I was kind of cooking, like hot. Like when I went to stand up meeting in the shop, even though the AC was blasting, I felt hot. I could feel that radiation all around me, from all these machines, all the test equipment, all the products being tested, emitting radio waves. And I was pretty uncomfortable, to be honest. I didn't feel good in there. But I walked around, looked at the product, looked at the testers, talked to the people, got some data, and put together a presentation for the site leadership and the program management on some points that we can do to improve the process. My boss was actually there at the site. I think he was watching me, making sure I did my job. I felt like he was watching me. But I did it. I went through, I gave him a thorough assessment. I said, this is how much rework you have. This is how much product you have to deliver. This is how much time it takes on a tester. How much time it takes for rework. How many operators you have. This is your defect data. And this is the amount of time it takes for you to find a defect and the supplier to get the same part. Right? It was horrible. They didn't have enough testers. They didn't have people. It was taking 5 months for a defect to get back to the supplier. So in that same time, you got 5 months of that same defect going through your chain. It was just a mess. And I told them, this is what you need to do. You need to borrow a tester from engineering, set it up as a dedicated troubleshooting station. You need a dedicated troubleshooting tech, and you guys should be running production on the production testers all day long. And then when they pop a reject, throw it on a troubleshooting tester. And you not only have to troubleshoot down to the system level, but you're gonna have to troubleshoot down to the component of what's wrong, so you can tell the supplier what's wrong. The supplier is making components, and we're making systems. The supplier doesn't understand the system requirements, and everyone was happy. I had done what others couldn't do. I had seen the problem, and it was like I could see things that other people couldn't see. And it was so clear, and I could present the problem in a way that they can understand. And they were happy with that. So then I come home, mission success. Of course, my boss wants me to do more, but I kept on thinking about the hawk. And what was that hawk saying to me when it was looking at me dead in my eyes? What was it thinking? I got the feeling it was a female hawk, scared for her babies, wants to get back to the nest, worried about her chicks. I could feel that from her. I also knew that the hawk could have really jacked me up with those claws. I mean, you think about it, people that handle hawks, they have big gloves all the way up their arms. But those talons just they're like razors. They pierce skin, And that hawk was so gentle to warn me, but not hurt me, But I shed blood for the hawk. I put my life in danger to save this hawk. And I was on a journey. And so I really didn't know what to make of it. I called my uncle, and he said, well, it sounds like it's a spirit animal. when you have an encounter with an animal like that, could be a bear, a deer. I mean, you'll know when you encounter a spirit animal, a spirit guide, because it's an interaction between man and nature, and it doesn't happen very frequently these days. And even fewer people are open to it. But I still had questions, and then I went to church, and that Sunday, the readings were about Abraham and how he made a sacrifice and how he cut the animals in half and walked through the animals and as a blood sacrifice for God. And then they talk about Jesus' blood sacrifice for us. Jesus shed blood for us, so we wouldn't have to. He's the ultimate sacrifice. And then I realized I shed blood for this hawk. I have a spiritual connection. I have a covenant with the hawk now. I shed blood. He was already bleeding from the wing. We both shed blood, and we both walked away from it. And then after that, for several weeks at work, it was like I was just solving problems, just one after another. Problems that no one could solve, I was solving them. And it came so easy. And I could see the problems, I could see the barriers. I was just removing them and solving problems. It got it got a lot of attention, and people were starting to get upset about it because I was doing things that they couldn't do, make them look bad. Admittedly, I was kind of fed up with the job and my boss, and I was just kind of speaking my mind, speaking the truth to power. They didn't like that. But even now, like I see things before other people see them. I'm like hyper aware. It's like, just people overlook some things and I see the little details. I see a detail and 5 minutes later someone will say, "Oh, look at that. Yeah, I saw that 5 minutes ago." You know? So I wear these chains around my neck for a reason. Not for fashion. For a reason. This arrowhead was given to me by my uncle for protection. It's sharp. It's killed before. But it's also a protection, you know? And as long as I wear this, in every situation I've been in, I've walked away without violence, without danger to myself. I wear this Virgin Mary medallion for the Virgin Mother, for Jesus' mom, that she was open to God and the sacrifices she had to make. I wear this cross for Jesus, his blood sacrifice for us. He died on the cross for our lives, so we wouldn't have to endure eternal death. And then I wear this Last Supper to remind me that Jesus had a brotherhood. He had followers, disciples, and they spread the whole religion. And someday I'm going to be at the table with Jesus if I do the right things. So I'm pretty open to religion. I mean, I believe that each religion has its own point of view of God. God is such a huge concept that we all get a slice, just like, point of view. It's like if God was at the center of the room and we're at four corners, we're all going to see different image of God, right? But it's all the same God, it's all the creator. Whether you call him the creator or God or Allah, or, even the Hindu religions believe, in the hierarchy of gods. The one God, the true God, The God who created everything. The God who created that hawk. The God who put me there so randomly that I would encounter this animal. And the animal had a message for me. That's really amazing to me, you know. And I carry this scar on my wrist to remind me that I shed blood. And that hawk is a spirit animal. I had that pain period as a hawk fighting with a serpent, good and evil, fighting over our heart, fighting over our soul. You know, it's like that. Heaven and earth, snake and hawk. Think about it. So the next time you're out hiking and you encounter an animal, just be aware. It may be your spirit guide telling you something, trying to prepare you for the future. Like I said, you may not believe it, but it happened. And that's a ghost story for you. It's all over, baby. Boom.